I'm so excited for today's episode. We talk about using one property to buy another, being an Airbnb superhost, and exactly how Catie makes money while she is on vacation with her house hack. Let's get started. Welcome to the Property Squad, guys. I am so excited to get this kicked off. This is a real estate podcast about investing, stories, and strategy. Each week, I interview someone who has had investing success, their trials, lessons learned, basically their story. In the next episode, I break down their strategy and dive deeper into it using my knowledge and expertise, and it's always going to be actionable. My name is Anson Young, and I've been an investor and agent for 17 years, and I'm doing fix and flips, wholesales, and BRRRR deals in 4 markets. I'm also a Bigger Pockets author, a speaker, and I don't know, the nicest guy I know, I guess. Now, I know I have to earn your trust through this process, but if you want to immediately know more, you want to be an early adopter, go to propertysquadhq.com and just give us your email address. We'll send you newsletter, free resources. We have a lot of cool things planned. I hate talking about things that are coming up or things that haven't happened yet. Pretty much everything that we can give away for free, we are going to. Importantly, I have a lot of free resources right in the description below if you're watching on YouTube, or in the description of the episode if you are on podcast platforms. My favorite thing there are all of the tools that I use inside of my real estate business on a day-to-day basis, a whole list of them. So check that out for sure. Season 1 is all about house hacking. So welcome, I guess, to the Hack Squad. If you don't know, house hacking is where you buy a property to live in, a 1 to 4 unit, so either a single family, duplex, triplex, fourplex. You live in one part of the property and you rent out the rest. A room, the other side of the duplex, the basement, you live in the shed and you rent out the house, you live in the house, rent out the shed, you get it. And the renters or the income that's coming in is paying for some or all of your mortgage. And honestly, this is one of the most powerful ways to get started in real estate. This is a story episode, so let's get in and talk to Catie Lawrence right now. All right, welcome to the interview part, everybody. And with me is Catie Lawrence. Catie, thank you so much for coming on and being with us.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to have the conversation.
Awesome. So let's start off with, who are you? And if you can just give us the 60-second rundown of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm here in the Denver metro area. I live in a town called Arvada, Colorado. It's in between Denver and Golden. I'm a real estate agent, a real estate investor, marketer, Airbnb superhost. I'm a house hacker. I fix and flip with my husband, and I am on the financial freedom path.
That is awesome. That goes to show that, you know, even people who are seasoned in real estate, they still house hack, which is pretty awesome. What kind of inspired you to start house hacking?
Yeah, so when I was a girl, way back, we called it having a roommate. So it was like the OG of house hacking, right? It was like, hey, I just bought a house. Oh my gosh, I have a mortgage now. Let me get a roommate. So that alone helped offset a lot of costs. I was able to, at this time working W-2, save. So just like the traditional, let me split housing costs and have somebody else pay me some rent to go towards my mortgage. So I kind of got a taste of that. And from there, I got this wild idea, like, I don't want to pay for my living expenses anymore.
Who does, right? Jeez.
I mean, you know, it's expensive.
That is expensive. Okay, so you're currently house hacking, right? So how did you find your house hack property? Like, what was that process like for you?
Yes. So currently we house hack our primary. So this is a little bit of a different strategy. So we purchased our house in 2014. My husband and I moved here. He's a contractor. He was doing renovations back in Philadelphia, which is where we're from. Moved here, basically gut the house and had to start over, right? Like you have to build your business back up, get subs, all the things. So fast forward a couple years, and it's just my husband and I. We only have a little dog, um, and we travel a lot. And I said, I was house hacking back in PA, renting out a room in my house via Airbnb. So I'm like, why don't can we do this now? We have a room just sitting there. We travel a lot. Long story short, we started house hacking just a room in our house. Several years after that, we got a roommate for about 3 months. So like midterm rented our house, just to a friend of a friend.
Sure.
And then now we rent the whole house out, sans a few, I lock off my office, I lock off the garage, but we rent out the whole house when we travel. So we have
Nice.
a truck camper. So now we're renting out the whole house while we travel. So it's kind of evolved.
No, definitely. So yeah, you house hacked just a room back in PA,
Yep.
and you did that on Airbnb as well, not just like
I
a long
did.
term. Okay. And
Yep.
then when you moved here to Colorado, which everybody wants to move to Colorado, but when you
I
moved
mean,
here to Colorado, you went ahead and started off with a room, and now you house hack your entire house while you're on vacation. Does that sound right? That's
correct.
awesome. Now, when
Yeah.
you found that property, was it just a normal transaction? Like you just used a normal agent, you found it normally, nothing was crazy there?
Yep. No, we use an agent here. We were able to purchase it in 2014, and it needed to be gut, but we were able to purchase it cash because I did a cash out refinance from the house in PA. So leverage that property to buy this
Okay.
property.
Oh, okay. Um,
Yep.
that answers the next question, was if you financed it or not. So it sounds like you did not.
So years later, we have refinanced because the appreciation here in Denver is just off the charts. At least it has been for the past few years. So we did refinance to go purchase more properties. So that's a
Oh,
whole nother
okay.
story. But we currently do have a mortgage. But because we, built a business on renovating houses, so we leveraged this property to purchase more.
That's huge. And wow, that's awesome. So you bought it in cash, refinanced some money out to go do more fun real estate activities.
Yes. And again, this took years. I mean, I started house hacking in 2016 and just renting out that one room. And now, again, we've house hacked properties that wouldn't sell. So we basically put them up on Airbnb throughout the winter instead of just letting them sit. Because I'm just a hustler and I just couldn't fathom like having this big, beautiful property just sit vacant. So we Airbnb'd that. So I've used the house hacking strategy quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when you sat down to analyze, let's just say your PA property or your one
Yep.
that you're in right now, what kind of strategies and tools did you use to determine kind of the profitability
Yeah.
in that way?
Yeah. Well, honestly, back in 2016, when I started doing this, there weren't the tools that there are now. I mean, Airbnb was relatively new. I think Airbnb got its start in 2008, 2012, somewhere along there. So there weren't really a lot of analyzation that you could do. That being said, I knew that there was a medical testing center, one of two in the whole nation that was close to us. We were very close to the city. There was a train nearby. So all of the
Hmm.
things that you can analyze now at a deeper level because there's tools. I just knew that, we were in a great location. There was a testing center nearby, and that's pretty much who we started running rooms to. People who were just there for a night or two, who were studying for the test, wanted a quiet place. They would go take the test and then basically, leave.
This was
Um,
in PA.
this was in PA. We were
Okay.
about 15 miles outside of Philadelphia.
Okay. So you have three house hacking scenarios that you've done in your personal residence, and I think everybody who's interested in house hacking, they want to know numbers, right? So let's break this down
Yep.
by because you have extensive experience with this, but let's break it down by property. So let's
Yep.
start back in the East Coast. Let's start over there, Pennsylvania. What were kind of the rough numbers that you were looking at for the income that you're bringing in versus what
Yep.
your mortgage payment was?
Yeah. So at the time, again, when I had a roommate, my mortgage was about 1,800, and I had a
Okay.
roommate who was paying almost half. And that included utilities. I didn't make them pay any of utilities. When we
Okay.
started renting a room on Airbnb in 2016, we rented out the room for 38 days for the whole year. That's not a lot, but we net 2,800.
Okay.
So again, not crazy numbers,
Yeah.
but I kind of got a taste of, okay, I don't have a roommate now, but hey, every once in a while we have somebody living in the house and they're
Yeah.
paying.
Yeah. I mean, 38 days covering over a month's, month and a half worth of your mortgage, right?
Yeah,
So for that tiny amount of time, you got 1/12 of the time, and they're paying for basically the entire mortgage during the time that they live there almost, right?
exactly.
That's pretty powerful. So even in a pinch, somebody could rent out a room that they have and cover, a chunk of their mortgage in like a short-term scenario, right?
Yep. Yep.
Nice. Okay, so property two, the house that you're in now, with the one room that you were renting at the time. What's kind of the rough numbers on that?
Yeah, so I'll give you let's see. I'll give you in 2018,
Hmm.
we rented out our primary guest room
Hmm.
with a mix of our entire house. We started testing that out when we traveled, and we rented it out for 26 days and made $5,000, a little over 5,000. So quite a bit, quite a jump from, again, prices are increasing. Denver's getting, more and more popular to come visit. So,
Right.
and just from there, it just went up.
Yeah, that was just the one room, right?
Yes, that was just the one room.
Okay. So that's scenario two in a different market. The one room paying $5,000. Everybody needs an extra $5,000, right?
I
So
mean, that's pretty big, right? That's almost your whole Roth contribution. If you're an investor
right.
in the
You
stock
just
market, let's not go there, but
yeah, you just shove it right into your Roth. Okay, so scenario three,
yep,
you guys travel quite extensively. Like you guys are about to leave on vacation. You guys
yep,
are, and every time you leave, I always ask, like, because Catie and I know each other personally. So I ask like, hey, like, did you guys rent out your place? You said
yeah,
that it's pretty much booked out. Can
yep,
you give us an idea of what the numbers look like now? That like how many
sure.
days are you guys gone, and what that income looks like?
Yeah, so this time around, we're going to be gone for about 2 months and a week or so. So
Okay.
a little over 2 months. We're renting it out. I haven't counted the days, but probably total about 25 days, 26 days.
Okay.
And right now we're sitting at $8,300.
Okay, so that's not an insignificant sum, and I'm assuming that your mortgage payment for the time that you're gone is less than $8,300,
Yeah, it
just a
is.
little bit.
I know we have all sub four interest rates. Don't hate me. We
Okay.
just refinanced years ago.
Yes. Lucky.
And again, the last year we rented out the house quite a bit, and we made over almost 22,000.
Now that's even more exciting too, because like, do you know how many days that is, or how
Yes,
how many months that you did?
88 days.
Okay, so for you, those of you out there who like to travel, maybe you're young, you have just a little dog, you want to go camp for 2 months, like Catie does. Um, Putting up your personal residence, the entire residence, it is totally viable as a house hack. You now, even if you're gone for a week or two, that's money that could cover your entire mortgage for that month. It sounds like, based on those numbers, so you're basically getting paid to go on vacation as long as you're okay with renting out your personal residence, blocking off areas, and doing that. We're going to talk more about that in the strategy part of this of the podcast later in this week. But this is total vindication that this is a strategy that can work. If you have a whole house and you're able to rent out just the entire place while you're gone, this is pretty crazy numbers. I mean, $22,000 in a, in 80, what did you say? 88 days?
88 days. And that was a full year. But again, pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean, even if you're just go on vacation, getting paid for that is huge. Okay. So, kind of going into the, how has house hacking basically impacted your life or on your road to financial independence?
Yeah, hugely. I think I got the taste of it again, just from having a roommate, just living, your cost of living where you actually live. That's one of your major expenses. So if you can get even a little bit of that taken away by rent or by letting out a room or some other way, that allows you to do so much more. So I invested heavily in my 401k. So I never felt strapped or house poor because I had help. And because I was investing in other things, compound interest, it just sets you up for the long road. And I know it's very hard to, when you're young, to think that far ahead, sweet, I have an extra $1,000. I'm going to go on vacation, which, don't get it twisted, I did that too, but it just allowed me to put more away. And then when we started investing in real estate, this covered our carrying costs. It paid for the furniture. It paid for the holding costs for 4 months while we held onto a property. And then it was staged because, for a short-term rental, you need furniture.
Right.
You need the house to be set up. So then it sold in the spring. And now we use that staging furniture for other rentals / flips that we do. So it just really gets the ball rolling. Yeah.
Would you call it a kind of an accelerator? It lets you get there faster.
100%. It's like a hack. I mean, literally, if you are trying to cover costs, if you are trying to pay off debt, just if you're trying to invest in real estate and 100%. It helped me immensely.
What are some of the most valuable lessons that you learned from your hacks? And then how have you kind of applied those to other real estate investments that you've done?
Yeah, so I think running the numbers as Airbnb and as this strategy got more and more prevalent, I was able to say, okay, we can actually look at the numbers. I started tracking everything so you can see how much you're bringing in and is it worth it? And, with this extra money, then we have more money for a down payment or anything like that. So make sure that you're tracking, even if you're doing it in your primary, because note to self, this is another tip. This is all taxable income. So what you are making is taxable income. So you need to track if you're buying more toilet paper because there's people staying with you, if you're buying cleaning supplies, all of these things. Now all of a sudden your primary residence is an investment. And of course it's an investment, but now it's an investment property. So that's a big lesson I learned, to just track everything.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the strategy section, but I think that an important part here that we haven't talked about yet is that you live in an area that has short-term rental restrictions, yet you're still able to short-term rent. How do you get around that, and how have you hacked it so that you can bring in $22,000 a year?
Yes. So because it's our primary residence, there are exceptions. If I was just an investor buying a house, and there would be a lot more restrictions. So check your local county and cities around the restrictions of short-term rentals, because it's not viable everywhere. This is not a strategy that you can use everywhere. If it's your primary, though, a lot of times there's different rules and regulations there. So that's because it's our primary, we can kind of get away with it.
Because you're an owner occupant, it unlocks a lot more of those doors. And if you're able to, if you have the stomach for renting out your own personal residence while you're gone, then you could do this totally above board, legally, rake in
Yep.
that taxable money and you're good to go, right?
Yes, exactly. And I wanted to bring up another kind of lesson learned is talk to your partner, husband, wife, roommates about this before you start doing it. Just full transparency, not everyone is on board with this strategy,
Mm,
especially if you're going to be living there while you're renting out a room.
yeah.
So make sure that you have an exit plan that, oh, we're going to rent out the house. Okay, well, what are we going to be doing
Right.
when the house is rented? Because we live here.
Yeah.
So just talk to your partner about why you guys are doing this, what makes sense for you. If it's really just, hey, let's do it in the summer when we go down to the shore for a week or go visit family for a month, and let's just see how that goes. Just make sure you're having conversations with the people that you're living with, because I would do this all day every day. Like I'd be like, all right, well, I'm leaving, and
Yeah.
Mike is not as up for it, and that you have to respect that because this is our house.
Right.
So
Exactly. And there's a maximum amount of days that an owner occupant can uh, short-term rent their house in your market, right?
yes, I believe it's 175 days, I want to say.
Okay.
It's around that. It's almost like it's about half a year. So you have to be mindful of that as well. Just know I should know that better, but because we only are doing it a couple months,
Yeah.
I know that we're below the limit.
So somebody could almost do like a snowbird situation where you're at,
100%.
which is crazy. Awesome. Okay, so let's pay it forward. What advice would you give to somebody who is considering house hacking?
Do it.
Do it.
I know that's such a cop out, but honestly, sit and run your numbers, look at potentially Airbnbs in your area. That's free research that you can do even without all of the AirDNAs and all of the things that you can purchase to do this information. See if people are even coming to your area. See if potentially maybe a midterm rental would be better, getting somebody in there for a month or two, and then see if you like that. But I would just test it out, because it is, again, to have some of your living expenses covered just opens up so many options for you.
It's huge. Great. Well, last question. Is there anything that you want to add or promote? Contact information, anything like that?
Yes, so you can find me on Instagram, happy_homes LTD. And yeah, always love to talk about this stuff. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, we'll definitely add a link to that in everywhere that you could find it. But Catie, thank you so much for coming and sharing your information with the squad and to enlighten us with this totally crazy method that not a lot of people have probably heard of or considered. It's a very viable solution. So thank you again for sharing everything that you have.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Wasn't that a cool interview with a cool strategy? Go on vacation, make money, use one property to buy another, all the cool stuff in there. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Property Squad. Again, my name is Anson Young. The squad needs you. Please go to propertysquadhq.com. Check out our social media. Check out our free tools that I use in real estate every single week right below. And in the next episode, we unpack even more of Catie's strategy and how you can take massive action on it. Until next time.